Fellow tennis nerds, I hope all's well. Welcome to another episode of This Week in Tennis, where we look at the week before and the week ahead. Last week was week number 7. There was lots of tennis going on in Buenos Aires, ATP 250 there. There was ATP 500 in Rotterdam, and there was ATP 250 also in Delray Beach, which is not finished at the time of talking to you. There will be a final between Tommy Paul and Taylor Fritz in a few hours, so that might be old news when you're watching this. And there's also the WTA tournament that finished with Iga Swiatek winning that one in Qatar. First of all, big congrats to Jannik Sinner. This guy just keeps on winning. I think he's up to 12 straight wins in 2024. I thought he would have some kind of a hangover, would feel the pressure of being a Grand Slam champion, but he just came in and delivered. He's pretty much going from strength to strength. He beat Alex de Minaur in the final. He now has a 7-0 head-to-head against de Minaur. De Minaur even tweeted that he doesn't like him, but that was just a tongue-in-cheek comment. Obviously, it's tough to have a 0-7 head-to-head against anyone. But if we then go to the other top guy that's young, that's up and coming, that we all hyped up some while back, only like 6 months ago at Wimbledon, Carlos Alcaraz. He is struggling. I mean, can you say that someone is struggling when they reach a semifinals in an ATP tournament? I don't think so. Sometimes we exaggerate these things. We get hyped up. We're tennis lovers. We're tennis nerds. We try to discuss and be passionate about the sport we love. We want to see players like Alcaraz succeed because obviously it's so exciting the way he plays for the audience, flashy shots. Everything looks very good. But yeah, he struggled. The last 6-7 months, he's not won any titles. The last title was in Wimbledon, and then he reached the finals in Cincinnati, the ATP Masters there. And after that, it's been from his standard, from the expectations on him, and possibly the expectations also set by himself, it's been a little bit rough. And in this tournament in Buenos Aires, he lost to an informed Nicolas Jarry, and you should give credit also to Jarry. He was playing really impressive tennis, aggressive, big serve, but also playing well behind it, coming to the net, closing the net. I mean, you can't really take anything away from him in that sense because he was just the better player on the day. Alcaraz was not his best. So what is ailing Carlos Alcaraz? I wrote a post on tennisnerd.net detailing some of the reasons behind that he's not really following up the expectations now. He's still a young guy. We should cut him slack. We don't need to push that narrative, but obviously when he was so spectacular, won 2 Grand Slam titles, looked like the new king on the tennis tour, then we haven't seen much in 6-7 months. You need to talk about it. That's sports. We're entertained by the analysis and the conversations around the sport we love, so obviously that's what we're gonna do. So what can be the issues? One reason can be kind of a breakthrough hangover. He was so good, it looked like he would be the next Federer, Nadal, Djokovic on the tour, that he would be starting to compete, get double-digit titles and so on. And that kind of ran away a little bit. And I think maybe also in his own head, he was starting to act a little bit like he was already super established, been there for 10 years. And that's simply not the case. He's a very, very good player. But even if he has won 2 Grand Slam titles, there's a long way to go to compete with the greats of the game. So I think maybe he just got it to him a little bit too much. The expectations by the outside world, but also by him internally, that he was feeling that he should be winning everything now. But that's not the case. Tennis is tough. The competition is fierce. Just look at Sinner now. That's one rough competitor. And that could also be a reason. The rise of Sinner, kind of the slow, steady improvement in his game that's now just reached a really good level where he's confidently winning. Could also be bothering Alcaraz a bit. Like, he was the guy to watch. Sinner was a bit behind. And now that flipped a little bit. And that can be something that's mentally bothering him, and very possibly so. So I can understand that the Sinner's success, in contrast to his lack of results, could be something that bothers him. There are obvious holes in his game that he needs to patch up, more obvious than Sinner. Sinner seems to be patching things steadily, very solid from the back of the court, improved his serve, smarter gameplay right now from Sinner. Alcaraz still impatient, wants to finish the rallies a bit too quickly or a bit too flamboyantly. He wants to go for too much, be too spectacular. He wants to hit the tweener, the fancy drop shots. There's a lot of this like, oh, listen to me and all that stuff. Very okay stuff to expect from someone who's that young. But we're not seeing it from Sinner, and Sinner is just quietly winning, you know, and then the contrast is starker in that sense. It does look good, all this stuff, when you're winning, but when you're not winning, I think it can like have a reverse effect on the crowd, but also in your own performance. We haven't seen Alcaraz with Ferrero that much because Ferrero had that knee injury and surgery, and then I couldn't join him at the Australian Open. Now he was in Buenos Aires, but still not quite a title run. Maybe now next week we're going to see a title from Alcaraz. It is highly possible in Rio de Janeiro. But yeah, there's something there that he needs to improve the serve. He needs to be a bit more patient. That's just my humble reading of what he can improve. Keen to hear in your comments, where do you think Alcaraz will end up in history? As such, that's too soon to talk about, but let's talk about this year. How do you think the year 2024 will be for Carlos Alcaraz? Any Grand Slam titles? Any Masters? Will he reach his expectations? Will he underperform or overperform? What can we expect? Back to Buenos Aires though, and Facundo Diaz Acosta, the guy who won the title. He beat Jarry in the final. He didn't lose a set the whole tournament. First title, now 59 in the world. So big ups to him. Playing in Rio, we'll see if he can keep on motoring there. And we're seeing some new titles now on the ATP Tour. So applause for him. And there was also Delray Beach, which is not finished, as I said. We predicted Tommy Paul would win that title, and it's likely still. He's playing Taylor Fritz, underdog in the odds, but with the confidence he has now, Tommy, I think he can make it happen. So we'll see. You will know when you watch this video. I will also know, but I will probably not have time to update the video until then. If we go on the WTA Tour, we predicted Iga Swiatek will get back to winning ways. And she did. She was pretty impressive in this tournament. Did have a tough fight with Rybakina in the final, especially first set, 10-8 to Swiatek, but then she was clearly the better player in the second set, 6-2. And I think she's gonna have more in the tank for next week, or this week, which is also in the Middle East on the WTA Tour in Dubai. As we move into week 8 on ATP and WTA Tour, let's start with the WTA, the Dubai WTA 1000. You have the draw, lots of players here, like they're all playing pretty much. We have Sabalenka back in action. Can she do a Sinner and keep delivering on the high expectations? Question mark. Not sure about that, to be fair. I didn't expect Sinner to win in Rotterdam. I thought he would have a good week. I didn't expect him to win. I predicted Rublev, but he delivered. I'm not predicting Sabalenka will win this one either. I might be wrong. I think Swiatek will keep on winning. We know that when she builds momentum and is feeling the ball as well as she has, I think she will be very dangerous on these courts, very similar conditions to the previous week. So Swiatek is my prediction. She did lose in the final last year to Krejcikova, so she also might have some revenge in her there. But very keen to see how Sabalenka will perform. Sometimes when you won a big title, you have a bit of a slump, but you know, look at Sinner. Maybe she can take some inspiration from that. So that's the big one on the WTA 1000. Keen to hear who you think will win. Will we see Coco Gauff back in strong form? Swiatek, Rybakina, Sabalenka, those are the players I think we should watch out for. Ons Jabeur, the star in that region, she is injured, knee injury for this tournament, so she won't be playing, which is a shame. On the men's side, we have one ATP 500 that's in Rio de Janeiro. Many players from the field in the Argentina Open are now going to Rio to play there. Alcaraz, my prediction to win. Will I have to eat the clay here as well? At some point, I think he will figure it out. So why not in Rio on the clay there? There is a field there that's pretty tough. He did lose in the final last year to Cameron Norrie, who's playing again, but he did also win 2022 Carlos Alcaraz. So he likes this event. He is good on the clay. He should be a threat to win again. Motet, he qualified. He posted on that on his Twitter. I like Motet because he's a hothead. He is a little bit crazy on the court. Now he's playing underhand serves. I don't know how his wrist is, but he was, slicing most of the time, playing some one-handed backhands, although he's normally a two-handed backhand player. I like when players have to change things up and adjust to their injury or conditions or whatever. But he has a tough one against Sebastian Baez in the first round, so it will be tough. But I'm also curious to see Diaz Acosta winning his first title. Can he keep winning? Also in Rio. In Qatar, we have the ATP 250 with Andrei Rublev as the number 1 seed. Predicted him to win in Rotterdam. Didn't quite go his way there. I still feel he has a good chance at winning this event. He is good at these kind of ATP 250, 500 events, starts struggling a bit with the thousands. and the Grand Slams. But my prediction will be that Hugo Humbert wins this title. I mean, he has been in 5 finals and won 5 titles. So when he's playing well, he's a super threat, and no nerves at all to be seen from him. We also have Andy Murray back in action, playing qualifier Alexander Muller. Can he have his first win now? Murray, he's been very public with his frustration about his own game, which you can understand. At some point it should come together, you think, but you never know, right? This is sports, we don't know. It's all tough. All the matches are tough. No easy wins there. So yeah, we'll keep my eyes on that one. Another player to keep my eyes on, and your eyes, is Abdullah Shelbai from Jordan. Next gen player, has tough draw against Poprin in the first round, but yes, there's a potential upset here. Last but not least, we go to Mexico and Los Cabos with Alexander Zverev as the #1 seed. He has had a pretty solid 2024 so far, and he should be the favorite here. But we also have big news. It's sad news in many ways. I made a whole video about it. The one-handed backhand. There are no one-handed backhand players in the top 10 of the rankings. Tsitsipas just dropped out. Will this motivate him to defend his title in Los Cabos? I think it will. I think he will be back. My prediction is that he will win this title. Racket alert. We have Kokinakis back to his Aero Pro drive. I don't know which model it is, but it's obviously an Aero. It's blacked out. He was with the E-Zone for a while. Had a great win in Adelaide 2 years back, but then it's been rough sailing for him for whatever reason. Often it's not the racket, but with the racket, it's connected to confidence, to everything. So sometimes changing the racket just puts you in a different mental state. So that's good to keep in mind. A pretty interesting side note is that the top 10 rankings compared to February 2019, we're talking 4 years back, Djokovic hogging that #1 spot, but then we have quite a drastic difference, like Nadal from 2 to 6, 4, 6. Okay, you know, he's been injured, blah, 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 blah. We have Del Potro, he's retired now. He was #4 in 2019. That feels like such a long time ago. Kevin Anderson, what is he doing? I think he's still playing, but haven't seen him. 624, possible retirement there. Nishikori, one of the most injured players on the ATP Tour, always injured. It seems like 349 now. Roger Federer, talking about injuries, had to retire due to his knees, so he's retired. Dominic Thiem, we talked about it. He's struggling. I mentioned that if he's not seeing results, he has actually said that publicly, that he will consider retirement. We all hope he doesn't, because we want to see a good Domi, an informed Domi play tennis. But he's 90 in the world now, and he wants to move closer to his potential, which should be higher in the rankings, obviously. John Isner, he's no longer playing tennis, was #9 in 2019. And Marin Cilic, he's playing, he's back, but he's re-injured, so we'll see, you know, how long he stays going here. You know, Djokovic is really the constant factor. Zverev has been around for a while, but overall, there's a lot of change in here. Only Zverev and Djokovic from February 2019. Still in the top 10. No one-handed backhand players. Small piece of news outside the ATP Tour rankings and the running of the tour. We have Amazon has acquired the rights to a documentary on Roger Federer, as per business. This was from Front Office Sports via Functional Tennis. Everything is a retweet these days, surrounding his retirement and his biggest rivalries. So this will be interesting. It will premiere on Prime Video in July around Wimbledon. So I look forward to that as a Fed fan. That's it. Keen to hear your thoughts, comments. What's going to happen this week? Who are your predictions? What do you think about Alcaraz? How will he perform in 2024? And if you want the latest in tennis, go to tennisnerd.net. There's predictions, news, the guide to gear, rackets and strings, and so on. Lots of reviews to come, a video about the graffiti and the MetroLab swing weight machine. So you nerds will have plenty to look forward to. There's also a new member video out today. Have a nice day, and don't forget to play some tennis.